Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is Learning English Path. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you elliptical sentences part 3, Nominal Ellipsis. Okay, in this lesson we are looking at nominal ellipsis. Now, if you don't know yet what ellipsis is, then I suggest you go back and look at my other 2 videos on ellipsis. It's basically when we can omit a word or some words because it's clear what we mean in context, and those words are unnecessary. Okay? And nominal, you can think of nominal as referring to nouns. So this is when we omit some nouns from a sentence or a noun from a sentence because it's already clear what we're talking about. So when do we do this? We delete the noun if it is repeated after a possessive, a number or an ordinal number, an adjective, a comparative or a superlative, or a modifying noun. And we'll look at some examples for all of these different kinds of sentences. So, first one, after a possessive. My house has more bedrooms than his. So here we're obviously talking about his house, right? So you don't have to say my house has more bedrooms than his house. You could, but you don't have to repeat the word house again because we already know we're talking about bedrooms in houses. So you can just say my house has more bedrooms than his, okay? His being a possessive, right? His house. His is a possessive because he possesses a house. All right, the next one, also after a possessive. Today's news is even worse than yesterday's. So this apostrophe S tells us that it's a possessive because we're talking about news again, right? Today's news is even worse than yesterday's news. But we don't need to repeat the noun news again. It's unnecessary. We know we're talking about news, right? My book disappeared. Hers went missing too. So here, what are we talking about? What's the noun that is omitted? It's book, right? But look at this one a little carefully, because if we're going to omit the repeated word book here, then we need to change the possessive a little bit because of its nature, right? We would, if we included it, we would say my book disappeared, her book went missing too. But because we don't include the word book, we need to change this word to make it hers, right? Because we wouldn't say hers book. We would say her book. But we can't say her went missing too. We need to say hers. Hers went missing too. And notice that this is 2 sentences. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same sentence. If we know from the context what we're talking about, then we can omit nouns. We can use nominal ellipsis even in the next sentence, right? Okay, after a number. He has $10, but I only have 5. Right? Here, what are we talking about? What's the noun? Dollars, right? It's he has $10, but I only have $5. But you don't have to say, he has $10, but I only have $5. You can just use the word dollars once, okay? And note that it is also possible to omit the noun in the first instance rather than the second. Now that's a little bit trickier, which is why I'm not including any of those examples here. But you could say he has 10, but I only have $5. But that takes a little more of an advanced English level to understand if someone else is saying that, because you have to kind of understand the noun before you go on to the second part of the sentence, right? So that's more advanced, but it is grammatically correct. But I wouldn't advise it in a conversation because you might confuse people. I've only had 2 slices, but he's on his 5th, right? So 5th is an ordinal number. And what's the noun that we are not repeating? It's slices, right? A slice. So you cannot, you can say, I've only had slices, but he's on his 5th slice. But you don't need to. It's much easier and more natural to omit it. Okay, this one is very common. That'll be $9.99. Now, we know it depends what country you're in, right? So if you're talking in American currency, we would know it's $9.99. But you don't have to say $9.99. If you're in the UK, you don't have to say £9.99. You can just say $9.99, and we know what we're talking about because there's an exchange happening, an exchange between a product and money, right? Or a service and money. So you don't need to necessarily say what the currencies are. You can just use the numbers. All right, after an adjective. Here, we're omitting the noun in both places, right? So the rich are free. Now, what do we mean? Well, we're almost certainly talking about people, right? Because who's rich? What's rich? People are rich. So the rich people are free. Or the rich people are free people. But we don't need to say people because we know what we're talking about, especially if it's in a conversation already. So the rich are free. We know we're talking about people. Give me the large. Now, again, context is very important. So it would most likely be after a question, like which size do you want? Maybe which size drink do you want? Or which size t-shirt do you want? And the person says, give me the large. We don't need to say, give me the large Pepsi or give me the large t-shirt, right? Just give me the large. We know what we're talking about already. Okay, after a comparative, the bigger, the better. Now, again, it completely depends on context. So, if you're talking about food, and someone says, "Oh, do you want a big pizza or do you want a small pizza? Do you want a big sandwich or a small sandwich?" And you say, "The bigger, the better." That means the bigger the sandwich, the better the sandwich, right? Or whatever it is you're talking about. And the next one is the happier you are, the happier your family will be. Now, this is noteworthy because we are not deleting any nouns here. Why are we not deleting any nouns here? Because, this is a reminder, the noun has to be repeated or very clear in context to use ellipsis. So in this sentence, you couldn't use it because let's experiment. The happier you are, the happier. That doesn't make any sense, right? The happier you are, the happier I am, again? No. Because we are changing the noun here. So because we're changing the noun, we need to put both nouns in. Otherwise, we wouldn't understand. We wouldn't understand that we need to change the noun if we didn't include it. His classes are the best, right? What does this mean? It means his classes are the best classes, right? But we don't need to put it after the superlative because we're already talking about classes and we already know. My cooking is the worst. Again, my cooking is the worst cooking. But we've established we're already talking about cooking. Now again, remember you can put it at the end instead of the beginning. So you could say, mine is the worst cooking. But again, that could confuse people. So this one makes the most logical sense. It makes the most sense for someone to keep up with what you're saying. I'll take the cheese. Now, let's say we're not actually talking about a block of cheese. We're talking about pizza, right? So in this case, the cheese is a modifying noun because we've got cheese pizza, vegetable pizza, pepperoni pizza, lots of different kinds of pizzas, and you say to the person in the store, I'll take the cheese. They know you're talking about pizza, so you only need the modifying noun. You don't need to say, I'll take the cheese pizza. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'll take the cheese pizza, but it's unnecessary. Right? It just saves you a word. All right? I'll take the cheese, please. And here, I want the apple. Now, you'll notice here, apple is capitalized. So we're not talking about the fruit. We're talking about the brand name, right? The company. Maybe the computer or maybe the phone. So if you're in a computer store or in a phone store and you say, I want the apple, they know that you're talking about the phone or the computer, right? So you just need to say the modifying noun. All right, let's do some exercises to make sure that you understand these. So I will show you 5 sentences and you turn the sentences into elliptical sentences. Ready? Here we go. Her chair is broken. How would you turn this into an elliptical sentence? Right, the answer is hers is broken. Right? Remember, we have to change the word her in this case because we cannot say her is broken. It doesn't make sense. Hers is broken. Next one. I'd like 3 bottles. What's the word you would omit? It is bottles, right? So you say, I'd like 3. Remember, in context, if you're already talking about bottles, if you're in a shop full of many, many different things and you say, I'd like 3, they don't know 3 of what, right? But you have to already be talking about bottles. The Chinese people are happy. The answer is the Chinese are happy, right? If you're talking about different different nationalities, different people already, then you would just say the Chinese are happy, the English, the Americans, the Indians, right? Whatever. The stronger you are, the easier your task will be. Okay, then the answer is, the stronger you are, the easier. All right, that might sound a little strange, but it's okay if you're talking about the task. And the last one, before my computer runs out of space, is you should wear your best suit. The answer is, you should wear your best. Again, in context. So if someone asks, oh, which suit should I wear today? And then you can say, well, you should wear your best, right? All right, so if you want to learn English with songs, make sure you get my free PDF guide to 101 songs to learn English. It's 125 pages, so much value in that. Highly recommend it. I'll send it to your email address, and you'll also get an email from me every week with new words to learn. And subscribe to this channel because I release 3 videos every week to help you with your learning English path. All right? Keep learning, my friend, and keep going.